So last week, reverb.com put out their list of the best-selling guitars of 2023, and I think it's actually pretty interesting. So we're going to take a look at it because, it's a pretty good litmus test, I think, for where the industry is at and where it's headed, but also there's some things on this list that don't really add up, and we'll talk about those in just a second. But if you're watching live, let me know where you're watching from in the chat. I always like knowing that, where people are tuning in from. And also, we're running a sale on the Fretboard Fundamentals course, the bundle. Get 40% off of the course via the link in the chat or in the description if you're watching this on replay. The stream's not sponsored in any way by Reverb or Sweetwater or anybody like that. This is totally self-supported stream, and if you like what I do here, that's the best way to support the channel, is go pick up a video course. So nice. Denver, we were just there not too long ago. Southern California, ATL, Austin. Nice. Santa Rosa, California. Okay, so like I said, earlier this year they put out this list, or I mean last week they put out this list, the best-selling guitars of 2023. Now, they do this every year, and I should point out that this is not industry-wide. This is just for Reverb. But I do think Reverb is probably a good analog for industry, at least in North America. Europe may be a little different. Asia may be a little different. South America may be a little different. But Reverb, I think, is a pretty good representation of what we've got going on as far as guitar sales go in North America. So I said this guitar list begins with an all-in view of the electric guitar market. This overall list includes guitars purchased across all conditions, whether the happy buyer got something brand new from a brick and mortar dealer or used from a fellow musician. Because many regular readers of our annual bestseller list have asked for sales of new and used items to be broken out separately, we have done so here in our best-selling electric and acoustic guitar lists. I think we're just going to look at the electric list. We might get into the acoustic list later. I don't know. And then they've done one for synths and electronic gear, but this is a guitar channel. We're all guitar nerds here, so we'll stick with that. As always, these lists exclude items that were exclusively for sale on Reverb, on sale for exclusive to Reverb prices, or otherwise benefited from exclusive promotions on our site. Now, I like that they do that because I think it's a way to sort of even the playing field, with the idea being that this is kind of a good analog for the overall best-selling guitars of 2023. Now, that's what's first on this list here. Wait, before I get down there, we'll do a little drum roll, please. Man, people tune in from all over the place. That's rad. Also, we're going to do some Q&A stuff here in a little bit too. So if you want to ask a question, you can @ me in the chat, or super chat, whatever you want to do, and we'll get to it there. Okay, so we'll start with the overall best-selling electric guitars of 2023. Now, what's interesting about this list is it is everything sold on Reverb, new and used, which is really cool because I think it shows sort of where players are at least the Reverb shoppers. But I mean, I feel like we all jump on Reverb from time to time. I mean, I know I do. I get on just to kind of see what's out there. So this is the top 20 overall list. Number 1 is the PRS SE Silver Sky. Now, I don't think that's all that surprising. You know, PRS dropped the SE Silver Sky and the SE DGT earlier this year. I mean, I think it makes sense. It's an affordable, well-made Strat, but I think well, I don't know that PRS would have been going for like the top spot in this list necessarily, but they have been running this 20% off thing for a while, which is pretty interesting. If we go to Sweetwater and look at it, let's see, PRS SE Silver Sky. What are they going for right now? Because I think they're still going for that same price. Yeah, 170. I mean, you're getting a PRS for under $700. That's pretty hard thing to overlook here. See, I like this Summit purple. It's kind of rad. Oh, it's back ordered. So anyways, 20% off. I mean, it's I think that's helping it out get to that top spot in the list. Next up is the Fender Player, Stratocaster, and the Telecaster. Now, this one is a little bit more interesting to me because, obviously there's a lot of Fenders on this list, but the Player Series is sort of the most entry-level Fender that you can get. It's, the cheapest thing that they make that says Fender on the headstock. Now, I've done a few videos where we've shot out 5 different levels of Stratocaster, 5 different levels of Telecaster most recently. You can find that on my channel if you're interested. And the Player Series, I consistently put towards the bottom of the list because I think the Squier stuff, like the Squier Affinity series or the Classic Vibe series, which you can see the Classic Vibe 60s Jazzmaster made it to number 18 on the list. The Classic Vibe 50s Telecaster made it to 13 on the list. Those guitars consistently outperform the Player Series, in my opinion. I just think they're better. And especially for the price, you're getting a better guitar, better sounding guitar, better playing guitar. The Fender Player stuff, to me, it feels cheap. And especially for what you're paying, they're just not great. But that's 2 and 3 on the list. Number 4, Fender American Pro 2 Strat. That makes sense to me. It's in the top 5. The American Pro 2 series, that's a really popular series. A lot of players go for that. I figured the American Pro 2 Tele would have been right underneath the Strat, but we get into our first Gibson. Now, the Les Paul Standard 60s and the Les Paul Standard 50s. It would be nice to know some actual numbers. I wish Reverb would give some numbers next to this list because I'd like to see how close the Standard 60s and the Standard 50s was. I'm a little surprised by that. I would have guessed that the Standard 50s would have been higher on the list than the Standard 60s, but I guess people might like the thinner neck shape, the thinner neck profile of the 60s. After that, we get the Fender American Pro 2 Telecaster, and then we get into our first Core Series PRS, which is the John Mayer Silver Sky, which is right here. And that pink is rad. I love that. Let's see. Alex says because they have Fender on the headstock, talking about the Player Series. And I think you're right. I think the brand, people want a guitar that says Fender on the headstock instead of Squier. We're not immune to that. But I just think they just need a lot of work to get them even up to the level of the Squier Classic Vibe stuff. If it were my money, I would buy the Classic Vibe over the Player Series. Here's what I would do. I would either save the money, buy a Classic Vibe, and put a better set of pickups in the Squier, or I would save a little bit more and go to the next level up of Fender. I would skip the Player Series altogether. But I mean, a lot of people are buying it. So let's see what else is interesting here. Number 11, the PRS SE DGT. Now this is a cool guitar. Came out this year. The DGT is a PRS I've always been kind of interested in. I've played a couple of them. They're cool. It's kind of the only thing in the traditional PRS shape that I would be interested in. But I've had some friends that have owned them, and they've all kind of said the same thing, which is the DGT is generally the guitar that's kind of a stepping stone to your next guitar. I don't know anybody that's owned a DGT that has kept it long term, or it has become their number one. But let's see, $849 PRS DGT SE with the moons. I mean, it's a good looking guitar, man. For under $1,000, that's just what PRS does really well. This SE line, I like that they have two of the same picture here. This dealer, just like, yeah, they get it. They can look up pictures somewhere else. I mean, it's hard to argue with, though, a well-made PRS for under $1,000. They sound great. Philip in the chat, Squier Classic beats American or the Fender Player in bass as well. Yes, it does. Phil just did an interesting shootout on his channel with the Bronco basses, right? The different levels of Bronco bass. Ooh. Amy in the chat says, is it better to buy a guitar with mods already or modify it yourself? I would definitely say modify it yourself. And understand that if you are modifying a guitar, you are probably not going to get your money out of the mods. So if you're doing a parts caster, specifically with parts casters, like sometimes I will see parts casters listed for the sum of all of the parts, you know, like sometimes it's over $2,000 depending on what somebody put into it. And it's just, yeah, that's not the best way. If you have a parts caster that you're trying to sell, part it out and sell it as parts. You'll probably do better that way. And with modded guitars, always, I would recommend being able to put your guitar back to stock so that you can sell it for whatever the going rate is. That's just my opinion, but you know, buying a modded guitar can be tricky. It's not something I would always recommend because you don't know necessarily who did the mods, how well they were done, how they're going to affect the playability or the reliability of the guitar. And also too, when someone modifies a guitar, generally it's in order to make it custom for them, and what they chose to do to the guitar might not line up with what you want to do with the guitar. So that's my 2 cents there. So let's get back to the list here. Okay, so number 12 is really interesting. We have the first sort of metal guitar on this list, the ESP LTD EC1000. Super catchy name, really great branding from ESP there. Now, what's interesting about this is sort of the only metal type or progressive, if you even want to call it that. I mean, I don't know that I would call this a very progressive guitar, but it's sort of the only non-traditional guitar on the list. I mean, if we go back, everything here is pretty run of the mill. It's Strats, Tellys, Les Pauls. You know, obviously the Silver Sky is just a Strat. The top 10, with the exception of the SE Custom 24, the top 10 are all Strats, Tellys, and Les Pauls. I'm a little surprised by that, actually, because it seems to me, based off of what I see a lot on Instagram and online, there's a lot of players out there that are doing more of the heavier, more progressive type stuff. It's not my thing, but there's a lot of players out there doing it. And you would expect to see, at least somewhere on this top 20 list, something that lends itself to that style of playing. We have the ESP, but aside from that, the next top 10 are the DGT, ESP, and then Telecaster. The PRS SE2 hollow body is an interesting choice. That's kind of an outlier. But then it's PRS CE24, that's a custom 24, American Standard Strat, the Classic 5 Jazzmaster from Squier, American Vintage 261 Strat, and then another Strat. So it's like people are into Strats this year. But I am surprised that the only metal type guitar that we have is this ESP. And these are cool if you're into this kind of thing. They're not my cup of tea. You know, I used to work at a shop teaching lessons at a shop that was an ESP dealer, and we would get these in all the time. And every time I would pick one up, I don't know. They're not for me, but that's not my my style of playing. Murky says, is there a list like this for used guitars? Well, this list does include the new and used guitars sold on Reverb. So this is the overall best-selling electric guitar of 2023. According to Reverb, this is not industry-wide. This is just on Reverb. But like I said at the beginning, I think Reverb is a pretty good analog for what's going on industry-wide, at least in North America. By the way, if you're just joining us, you get 40% off the Fretboard Fundamentals course bundle via the link in the chat or in the description box down below. This stream is not sponsored by anybody. It's not sponsored by Reverb, Sweetwater, or anybody. If you want to support the channel, check out the link. So if we scroll down here, though, we can see, so they have some key takeaways here. The SE Silver Sky reigns supreme for the second year in a row. Helped this year by PRS's brand-wide 20% off sale on SE guitars, which the company extended across all of its dealers, which is smart for PRS to do that. maybe they over ordered or something during the pandemic. Maybe they have too many of these SE guitars on hand and they were just trying to clear them out. I don't know. The decades-long competition between Strats and Tellys has a close yet decisive winner this year in the Strat. 5 of the top 20 guitars are proper Strats, 7 if you count the Silver Skies. Now, this is where I wish Reverb would include some numbers here. Like, we could actually look at some analytics, because I would actually like to see how close the Strat versus Telly shootout was. Same thing with the Les Paul, the 50s versus 60s Les Paul. I nerd out on stuff like this. Part of what I do on YouTube is just nerd out on analytics all the time. So I would like to see this kind of stuff, but maybe there's some kind of reason that they wouldn't post it. I don't know. Let's see here. Sleep Drifter says ESP just has some of the most beautiful finishes for the price. Yeah, if you're into that kind of thing. It's not necessarily my cup of tea, but I like the matte black, like the satin black and gold. That's kind of classy, you know. But, you know, whatever blows your skirt up. And then despite PRS taking top honors, Fender's US-built Strats and Tellys in the form of American Pro 2 Strat and Telly both outsold the non-SE John Mayer Signature Silver Sky, which had edged it out in 2021. And I think, to me, that makes sense, just because the Silver Sky SE coming out means that most people are going to go for the more affordable import version of the guitar rather than saving up to have the real thing, quote unquote, the American made version. And the thing that I like about PRS is their quality control of the import line compared to the core series. The American line is really, really good. They really know what they're doing here. So now, before we move on to the overall best-selling new electric guitars of 2023, there's one thing I want to talk about specifically with PRS, and that is this. So if you missed it, they posted on their Instagram like a Spotify Wrapped style version of their top-selling guitars of the year, their top 5 selling guitars of the year, and this seems a little suspect to me. So this is a Guitar World article. We can link it in the chat. Step aside Silver Sky PRS. The best-selling guitar of 2023 wasn't John Mayer's signature guitar. It was the all-new Telecaster style NF53 and Miles Kennedy models. Now, okay, they didn't launch the NF53 until June, so it's only been out for a little over half the year. They also didn't include the SE models on this list. From what I can tell, and what the article says, is just the core models, which I think is a little... I think they're playing with the numbers here for marketing reasons. This is just a hunch. I don't have anything to back this up. If anyone from PRS, Gene, if you're watching this, I would love to know if this is legit. But according to them, they're saying the NF53 and then the Miles Kennedy version are the top 2 selling models this year, even though they've only been out for 6 months. And then the Silver Sky came out, and then the Silver Sky is number 3, Custom 24 is number 4, and then the Modern Eagle 5 is number 5, which is interesting to me. Maybe because of the ties with John Mayer and Dead and Company and him finishing up Dead and Couture's. But my beef with this list is the Miles Kennedy at number 2. I don't know that I buy the fact that the Miles Kennedy was the second best selling PRS model of this year. I played both the NF53 and the Miles Kennedy at Gearfest, Sweetwater Gearfest this year. Oh, Dylan Adams. Is Dylan in the chat? Yeah, nice. He's got an NF53. He says, as someone who really digs the NF53, I was suspicious of their list too. Yeah, so here's the thing. The NF53, I really enjoyed. It's kind of the only PRS that I could see myself purchasing. It's cool. It's unique. I love the shape. I like the pickup layout. I like the colors. It felt really cool. The Miles Kennedy for me was personally an absolute, it just didn't work for me. As much as I liked the NF53, I didn't like the Miles Kennedy at all. And that's subjective. I get it. Miles Kennedy and I probably have very different taste in guitars, evidently. I still think it's a cool guitar. It's, you know, if you're into that kind of thing, you're into that kind of thing. But I can't imagine that the Miles Kennedy, a sort of niche signature guitar for an artist, outsold the Custom 24, the standard DGT, the Silver Sky, all of the Silver Skies. I don't know. I don't know if I buy this list at all. I think there's some. I think they're goosing the numbers a little bit in order to make the NF53 and Miles Kennedy seem like it was a better seller than it was. I don't doubt the NF53 was number one on the list. It's a cool guitar. It made a big splash when it hit, but I just don't buy Miles Kennedy at number two. Again, I don't have anything to back that up. I don't know. It's just a hunch that I have, but see what you guys think. Let's see. When the 53 sells out, the Miles is the next to sell. I mean, maybe, but they're so different. Like the NF53 and the Miles Kennedy are not like, it's not like they took an NF53 and they, just changed the color and put a different set of pickups. It's a pretty fundamentally different guitar, in my opinion. Drew says I'm calling shenanigans. I think I am. I am calling shenanigans. This seems like a bit of a marketing thing to me. Again, I don't have anything to back that up. It's just a hunch that I have. Let's see here. I want an NF53, but I don't want to spend the cash on a PRS core, to be honest. When I can buy an Amp Pro. Yeah, they're not cheap. They're definitely not cheap. But knowing PRS, maybe this time next year there will be an SE NF53, which will be a really catchy name. Someone says buy used. I mean, maybe. These are probably, let's actually see, what are these going for used right now? PRS NF53. Because they are new, they are hot. Okay, got it. Let's look at, there's only 2 used ones on Reverb right now. Let's see. Both of them are the Tobacco Sunburst. One is, yeah, they've dropped the price. How long has this one been up here? Used mint. $2,200. Yeah, so this is someone that's trying to get close to what they paid for out of it. This one, $1,989. Tito's Tunes. Yeah. Let's see what these have sold for. Can we see that? No. Okay. So yeah, if you want a used one, it looks like they're kind of hard to come by, at least on Reverb. If we go new, brand new, there's 55 available. Now this is the color I like right here. It's $28.99. Yeah. So it seems like maybe the that second one we looked at is probably a good price. It's $900 off. Looks to be in good condition. That's probably a decent deal for somebody out there. This is not sponsored or anything, I should point out. Have I played one, Storm Rider? Yes, I did. I played this exact model, this white one here, at Gearfest this year at Sweetwater, and actually really, really liked it. It's one of the, like I said a second ago, it's probably the only PRS that I could see myself buying. Okay, so now let's go to the best-selling new electric guitars of 2023. By the way, if you're just joining us, we're running 40% off the Fretboard Fundamentals bundle. This stream is not sponsored or anything by anybody. If you want to support the channel, check out the bundle. Link is in the description and in the chat. See here. So Steve Cassidy's asking, are these sales worldwide or just US? So these are just on Reverb. This is the best-selling guitars on Reverb. Now, this is all with the caveat of Reverb being one retailer in North America. I guess they sell overseas, right? So but I think we have to take this list with a grain of salt. I think it's probably a good analog for what's happening, industry wide, but it's North America, one retailer. I would love to see Sweetwater's numbers too, and Thomon's numbers, and just kind of compare, because it would be interesting to see, American players versus European players versus South American players versus, Asian, Southeast Asian, Australian. Like what are the differences? What are people into? Because obviously, based off of both of these lists, the stuff that's really selling right now is kind of the meat and potatoes. It's Strats, Tellys, Les Pauls. And if we look at the best new electric guitars, so these are all, brand new. The first list we looked at a minute ago was just the overall best-selling guitars of 2023. So that's stuff that sold on Reverb, brand new and used. If you're just joining us, you missed the intro where we read out. So the lists exclude items that were exclusively for sale on Reverb, excludes items for sale on exclusive to Reverb prices or otherwise benefited from exclusive promotions, which I appreciate that Reverb did that, because it kind of helps even the playing field a little bit. So this is the best-selling new electric guitars of 23. Obviously, PRS SE Silver Sky is back on the top. That makes sense because most of what sold on the overall list would have been new, because that was a new guitar this year. Then the American Pro 2 Strat comes in at number 2, and it overtakes the Fender Player Telecaster and the Fender Player Strat. Now, if you remember on the first list, the overall list, the Player series were 2 and 3. Now they're 3 and 4, replaced by the American Pro 2 Strat. This is the closest thing I'm ever going to get into sports, by the way, like paying attention to sports analytics and stuff. I could not give a shit about sports, but this is my sports. So I think there's some interesting insight here. We're looking at new guitars, the American Pro 2 outselling the Fender Player and the Tele and Strat. Maybe people bought their Player series and then sold them. Maybe they're so high on the overall list because a lot of used Player Strats and Tellies were selling to get something else, which would support my theory of the Player series being the ones to skip. I think if you're looking for a Fender, skip the Player series. And as Philip was saying earlier in the chat, that goes for basses as well. I just don't think they're worth the money. The only thing that the Player series has going for it is it says Fender on the headstock if you have to have that. Otherwise, buy the Squier, Affinity series or Classic Vibe, or save up and go with something like the American Pro 2 if you want a more modern Strat. Then we got number 5, PRS SE DGT. That makes sense. American Pro 2 Tele. Now that's interesting. The spread between the Tele and the Strat is very, very interesting to me. Why are more people interested, considerably more interested in the Strat versus the Telecaster? What do you guys think? Matt Field says, yeah, go for Ventera or American Pro. I completely agree. I think the Ventera series is great. I got my hands on that Ventera Bass 6 recently, and it's been one of my favorite guitars of the last year. Strat is always more popular, Quilted Maple says. Not always. Not always. I think the Strat and Tele kind of move, back and forth. Tweezy says Strat is cooler. Disagree. I think the Tele's cooler. Personally, I'm much more of a Tele guy. You just can't beat the reliability. The Telecaster is like just a good hammer, You can do a lot with a good hammer. Looking for a good jazz stang. And wondering if it's worth it. I've not played any jazz stangs. That's kind of an interesting guitar. But I can't say if it's worth it or not, because that's a subjective thing. Let's see here. Jay Booth says, I bought an American Pro 2 and a Player series this year. Interesting. PS took some tweaking, but it is a limited edition player with the roasted neck and custom shop fat 50s. It is killer. So that's the thing about the Player series. Like a year or two ago, I did a video with my buddy Ben Calhoun where we we took a Player Series Strat and we tried to custom shop it, where, we basically threw the book at it. We put all new electronics. He rolled the fingerboard edges. He did a full fret job on it. We upgraded, I believe we upgraded the bridge too. I can't remember. There's a video about it on my channel. And I think we put over $1,000 worth of parts in it. And it did not come anywhere near as close to the custom shop Strat that we shot it out against. Now, the price difference was great. It was a really, really big price difference. But and the Player Series did feel and play and sound a lot better, but it still didn't get close to something like, in my opinion, I really like the Vintera series stuff, or the Vintage series, American Vintage that they came out with. So yeah, the Player Series can be great, but the thing is, if you're going to spend the money on upgrading it, just, in my opinion, spend that money on getting the higher spec Fender. Go American Vintage, go American Pro if you want the more modern version. I just think you're throwing good money after bad by upgrading the Player Series. And if you're getting the Player Series because you're trying to save a little money, then just go with the Squier. Get the Affinity Series, or the 40th anniversary Vintage Telecaster, which is here, number 7 on the list. This is a rad guitar. Yeah, this thing, the 40th anniversary Vintage Edition Telecaster. I mean, dude, what more do you want? I like it's a satin finish. It's got the satin finish on the hardware too there, so it's not quite, it's got kind of an aged look, but it's not a full-on relic. I can see why this cracked the top 10. This is a cool guitar. And the double binding, the double black binding on the body. Come on. Maple neck, telly. What are these? For $400. I mean, I would buy this over the Fender Player Series, anything in the Player Series, any day of the week. That red's not quite as appealing. The walnut's nice though. Look at that. I mean, it looks kind of like a coffee table, but if you're into that kind of thing, $300. I mean, come on, man. That one's in New Jersey. Someone go get that. So yeah, to me, the Player Series just doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's my 2 cents. Then rounding out the top 10, we got the Les Pauls, the standards, the 50s, and then we got the PRS SE Hollow Body 2. Another really interesting pick to make the top 10 for me. This is just kind of a niche guitar, and I'm surprised that it made the top 10 new guitars list. Someone buy it right now live on stream, RJ. Thanks. No, I'm all set on tellies. I landed my telly this year. I'm really happy with it. Although we could buy it and fix it up and give it away or something. Get a pointy BC Rich. No, thank you. So this is an interesting one to me though. The SE2 with the piezo. How do you piezo? Chat, how do I say that? Piezo. What's the non dumb American way to say that? This guitar, it's cool-ish, I think. I mean, it's attractive. It's got a good look. I like that it's the SE. It's accessible for what it is. Personally, I would never. Okay, hold on. Piezo. Piezo. Jesus, you guys can't even figure it out. Even chat doesn't know what's going on. Piezo. All right, I'm gonna say piezo. It's cool, but I just would never have picked this to make the top 10 this year. Certainly not outselling the Silver Sky. I mean, that's wild to me. That the SE Hollow Body 2 outsold the Silver Sky on, now again, take this with a grain of salt. It outsold it on reverb in North America. So I would love to see just like worldwide numbers. I think that'd be cool. Then from the next top 10, we got the Squier 40th anniversary, Jazzmaster and Strat. That's really cool. What does this Jazzmaster look like? Yeah, man. Yeah, this is rad. This one right here. Come on. This is perfect for a Jazzmaster, okay? Because the Jazzmaster is one of those guitars. It's cool. And there are certainly a lot of players that they commit to the Jazzmaster thing and the sound. But for most people, I think a Jazzmaster is like a third or fourth guitar, right? You've got your basses covered. You've got the Strat. You've got the Les Paul or whatever your thing is. And then you're looking for something that's cool. It's a little bit different. The Jazzmaster is a really good option for that. And for $450, this one's used mint, the 40th anniversary Squier vintage edition. Dude, satin desert sand, and you get a gig bag with the anodized guard. This would be a cool guitar. Swap the pickups, you know, mod it, maybe delete the rhythm circuit, make it, simplify it. I mean, go crazy with it. Maybe you make it a one pickup Jazzmaster. Maybe you take the neck pickup out and just do a you know, one pickup, one knob, like rock machine. Yeah, dude, $450. I think that's a decent price, man. With the gig bag. Where is this? Someone go buy this. Currently set up with a stay trim bridge. Huh. So this one's got upgrades. Let's see here. Considering the professional luthier work in the guitar. Man. That's a solid deal. Someone go buy that. Hey, it's in Charleston. I was born in Charleston. Conrad's Gear Emporium. There you go. That's a cool guitar. Okay. Now, there's another thing about this list that I found interesting, which is that the only time we see Yamaha on the list is number 15. We've got the RevStar 2 RSS02T. Now, I made a video about this a few months ago, why more guitar players don't play Yamaha. The RevStar is a really cool guitar, man. Yeah, this is exactly like mine. I think they're a cool shape. They sound cool. They've got an interesting electronics layout with the circuit. But people don't think about these. Many people don't play these, and I think it's just a marketing problem with Yamaha. First of all, like I said in the video, calling it Hot Merlot, terrible name for a color. But these are a good deal, man. You can find these. They're great guitars. Matteo Mancuso, Chris Buck are the two RevStar players that come to mind. Now, I don't think they're playing this edition, the RSS02T, another really catchy name. Man, somebody needs to talk to the marketing departments of these guitar companies. Like, why? I could understand maybe calling it the RSS02T as like an internal, you know, naming thing to like keep track of it for inventory, but like give it a name, you know, get like it needs a proper name and not Hot Merlot, please. Let's see here. Robot Shlomo says Yamaha seems to have a distribution problems. You don't find them a lot of guitar players in Sam Ash and a lot of guitar centers or Sam Ash stores. Yeah, but they're online and they're at all the online retailers, Sweetwater and, you know, Reverb, obviously. And dude, this is, you know, $781, under $800, sub $1,000 after sales tax and everything. This is a killer guitar, man. If you're into that shape, it's a cool, the P90s in this are okay. I would probably recommend swapping the P90s out personally, but it's, you know, at least it made the list. Number 15. I was surprised though to see it not higher on the list, quite frankly, because Yamaha is such a big company. They're just, and they do so well in so many other areas of the music market. You know, I just don't think they market their electric guitars very well, you know, which is a shame because they're great. They're really, really great. So, Let's see here. Let's see what their key takeaways for the new guitars are. Notable entrants to this list of top-selling guitars is the PRS SE DGT, launched in January. Brought the David Grissom Tremolo Signature model to a lower price point. Also notably was the only exclusion from PRS's year-end sale on SE models. And then the Yamaha RevStar series, which got an overhaul in 2022, is represented here in the best-selling RevStar standard. I'm not going to say the name again because it sucks. Top-selling American Vintage 2 model from Fender, the 61 Strat, which sold more than any other guitar from the historic spec line, launched in late 2022. That's another cool guitar. This is kind of my spec of Strat. 61, cool colors, the Fiesta Red. The thing I like about Fiesta Red, like sort of the OG Fiesta Red, is that it can be many, many different shades of red. It seems that they were just calling Fiesta Red whatever red paint they had in at the time. It can be this sort of more coral thing, or it can be a deeper, darker, like almost candy apple red. Yeah, I love the Fiesta Red. And the American Vintage series is cool. You get a hard shell case with it. Let's see, what do we have here? Are there any used ones? Am I looking at a used one? No. 23 used ones. Let's see what's out there. Yeah, $1,500. Excellent condition. Yeah. I think that guitar is worth $1,500. Here's one for $1,700. I like how they staged this shot, and they're trying to charge like a retail price for it. Like, it's used, but it's got all the tags. So that's cool. All right, let's look at used guitars here to round out our live stream. Let's see here. Let's do this for amps and pedals next. Man, I don't think they've done a list for amps and pedals. They should, though. That'd be really cool. Jared says, look up the Collings JL. No, I don't want to be sad on the stream. Does this mean the most flipped guitar? I don't know. So best selling used guitars of 2023. Les Paul Standard 60s. So we've got Les Paul, the Fender Player Strat, again, near top of the list. The SE Silver Sky. The Les Paul Standard 50s. Fender Player Telecaster. The American Pro 2 Strat. Silver Sky John Mayer Signature, number 7. American Standard Strat, 1986 to 2000. Let's look at these listings. What is an old American Standard Strat going for? Wow. Oh, okay. Here's why. I was going to say this is a good deal, but first of all, you got the mother of toilet seat pickguard on there. I was like, $749. That's a good deal until we look at the. Can you see? Someone tried to scallop the fretboard up there. Oh, they got a video. Okay. Let's see here. Man, $1,000. These are expensive. The old American Standards. I feel like these were way cheaper not too long ago. Yeah, right around $1,000. $1,700 is an 87. Let's look at this one. It's cool. We got the lace sensors. It's kind of a cool guitar. Kind of Clapton-y. Lace sensor gold pickups installed. Man, those were the thing back in the day. Let's see here. Wolfram says 2000 series are a real solid series. I'm guessing you mean American Standard from the 2000s. American Standards have gone way up. They're nice guitars. It's been a while since I've played an old American Standard. Not liking the pickup covers, to be honest. Well, those are the lace sensors. They're kind of known for that. Anything else jumping out here? Oh, that's cool. 98 in Inca Silver. I was 8 years old when this guitar was sold. EMG SA pickups in the year 2000. Hell yeah, man. That's rad. Are they active? Let's see if there's a battery. Okay, got it. No battery. $900, you know, if you're into that kind of thing. It's a cool little guitar. How did the MIJ Fenders compare? Well, it's hard to say. It's been a long time since I've played a Japanese-made Fender. I had a Japanese Squier, one of the E serial number Squiers, for a long time. I don't know what happened to that guitar. I think I tried painting it a bunch of times, and then I just took it apart and put the pickups in something else. But it was really heavy. I mean, it was like almost 10 pounds, I think, which is really heavy for a Strat. So let's go back to our used list here. The 60s standard Les Paul is interesting. It seems to me that a lot of people, what can we sort of draw from this list? The best-selling used electric guitars. So the Les Paul standard 60s is 4 or 5 years old now. They've been out for a while. So that means a lot of people are selling these. Let's see what they're going for. Maybe they bought them and just didn't get on with them and are selling them. Or maybe they bought them and played them and are trying to upgrade to something else. I mean, there's a lot of reasons. Let's look at used here. There's 175 used ones on here right now. $2,100, 2019, 20. I mean, damn, these are still expensive. I wonder if they're actually selling for that. Buy a double neck. Oh man. Okay. Let's see. Where is the buying guide? Here we go. Price guide. There's what I wanted to see. Let's look at these over the last year. So we've got last January, they were selling for about 37 of them sold the month of January for a $2,000 average. And they've really, really come, well, actually, no, we look at our scale here. We've dropped from $2,050 to $90, so $100 drop over last year. But if we look at the last 2 years, they peaked in 2022. So they are dropping, but I mean, they're, you know, let's see, December 11th, one sold for $1,800, $1,900. Yeah, okay, so that seems more reasonable. You know, someone bought one for $2,400 that was listed as good. Damn. Yeah, $1,800 is not bad, I think, for what that is. Seeing a decline in price. Yeah, now, this is interesting. Let's compare this to the Fender. Well, let's compare this to the standard 50s here. All right. $27.99 is a gold top. Let's go down to our price guide. Let's go see, what do we have here? 2 years. Okay, so this is the 50s spec. Our scale is the same over here, between $1,900 and $2,200. They are dropping, but they have held their value better. This is back to the 60s spec. They have held their value better than the 60s. Why do I find this interesting? Are you guys finding this interesting? I know this is nerdy and very niche, but I'm enjoying this. What else should we look at here? The used price guide. But I mean, they're around the same. Like that's the there's the 60s spec. There's the 50 spec. Yeah, someone bought one for $23.69. Nice. That's a weird price. $23.69.21. Jim and Tess says stats was my best class in college. Well, maybe you can help decipher this because I did not graduate college. Amish says this is like my day job, but not with poetry books. Drew says this is our version of Fox News dads buying gold. That's funny. It's really funny. Oh, man. All right, let's see what's next on the list here. Let's see what the Silver Sky has been selling for. Let's go used. There's 116 used ones on here. I really love the pink, man. That one, that color's so cool. I like this color too. Is that the sand? Tungsten. Oh yeah, it's silver. That's cool too. Can we see some pie charts? I don't know how to do that. Someone who's better at this stuff than me. Here we go. All right, let's go out to 2 years here. Whoa. Well, that's interesting. What happened in November? Okay, so David, I can't with the tuner pegs. Now, this is something a lot of people complain about with the Silver Skies. They don't like the tuning pegs, and I don't understand why. I mean, I get they're matte finished, but I don't. Ooh, there's a $6,000 for a dead spec. Hold on. And the mock sand. I mean, that's a really cool finish. I mean, they're kind of ripping off Novo there with the exposed grain. $6,000 for that. Damn. Yeah, this is really fascinating though. Look at the jump. We went from, in October, 33 of them sold for an average of $1,700. Is it the dead spec? Are the dead specs driving up the price? Okay, that makes sense. Brian, yeah, dead spec is expensive, drove the price up. All right. We sold 48. Well, I didn't sell these. Just looking at these prices, but they sold 48 for close to $3,000. Fascinating. But I mean, look at how steady they've been for the last 2 years up until the dead spec came out. I mean, that's pretty solid. You know, we're dropping a little bit. The economy's slowing down. You know, people aren't spending as much, but compared to the Les Pauls over the last 2 years, like that's the 50s spec Les Paul, or is that the 60s? Yeah, this is the 60s spec. These PRSs have been holding their value way, way better. Okay, let's see what else we can look at. Not that steady, the scale is squashed. Well, if we look, $1,800 in August of 23, $2,000 in January of 22. That's pretty steady. $200 drop over 20 months, 18 months, something like that. Difference in volume. 39 products sold in August, 43 products sold in January. Yeah, I mean, you know. Let's see what else is here. Let's look up some let's look up the Player Series Strat. Now, again, I'm not a huge fan of these guitars. All models and filtered by, good to mint, 2 years. Okay. So we were sitting around $650 ish, $630. January of 22. So we've dropped around $100. Not that bad. Not that bad. Just on for $400 or $500. 500, 410, 525. Yeah. A player series for 500 might be worth upgrading. I mean, yeah, if you could get one, you know, if I bought a player series for $400, you know, I'd feel pretty good about that. If I got a $400 player series and then I'd drop maybe $200 into some pickups, and then I would do the work myself of like, because the big thing I don't like about the player series is the way that the neck feels and the fretwork on it. They don't feel great. So you're gonna have to put some elbow grease into like rolling the fingerboard edge and polishing the frets up, and getting them right. And then a good setup will go a long way as well. And then, you know, you do that, you do a really nice set of pickups. Maybe you rewire it, you know, put some better pots in it, upgrade the switch, upgrade the output jack, not necessarily for sound quality, but just for reliability. You know, putting switchcraft jacks and switchcraft stuff in is usually a good idea. You know, then you'd be in it for, call it $600, $650. The problem with that though, is whenever you go on to sell the guitar, you're not going to get $650 for it. You're going to get $400 for it or whatever. Now you could keep the original pickups and put it back to stock and all that kind of stuff. But then it's, you know, what's your time worth? Is it worth the few hours of, you know, putting the guitar back into stock and then keeping the pickups? I mean, it might be worth it to you. That's up to you. It's totally subjective. But, you know, for me, let's call it, let's say we were putting a really nice set of pickups in it, and let's say we were even upgrading the pot. Let's call it, if I bought it for $400 and I put $300 in it, $350 in it, we're around $700, $750. What is the, let's look at let's go back up here. And where is the vintage American Ultra? Here we go. American Vintage 61 Strat. Let's go look at the price guide. So what did I say? We were at 700-ish bucks. Oh yeah, they haven't been out that long. It's like, wait, what the hell's going on? So these are all models good to mint. Yeah, so you're still, I mean, 1,700, 1,800, 1,300. These have jumped up a little bit last month. 9 products sold. I mean, so yeah, maybe that's the move. But that's going to the American Vintage. Let's look at the Vintera series. So let's look at Vintera Strat. Let's look at the Vintera Strat 60s. No, I don't want modified. There we go. See, now we're talking. So these are made in Mexico. You're getting some really cool finishes. You know, I love this color. Seafoam surf green. It's rad. Yeah, man. Plus the road worn finish, which I actually like. It's a bit polarizing, but I like the road worn. Where is my price guide? Here we go. Yeah, okay. See, this is what I'm talking about. Skip the player series and go for the Vintera series. Because even if you got that player series for $400 and you put $300 worth of pickups in it, you're within striking distance of getting a good used Vintera series, which I think is a cooler guitar. I think they play better. They're more comfortable. I think they've got more character than the player series. It says Fender on the headstock if you've got to have that over the Squier. It's more vintage inspired, which for me is what I like. Brand new, they were $11.50. Get them used for half of that almost. Yeah, that's the move, in my opinion. If you're looking for Strat, no left-handers in Ventera. You're right. Yeah, so Brian, that is crazy. $1,100 for a Mexican-made Strat. It is crazy. But I mean, their used prices, I think, are more in line with where they should be, and that's what I would do. I would buy used. I'd check out Reverb or check out Sweetwater's used gear marketplace, and get one used. And then if you want to upgrade that, I would feel a little bit better about putting some cool pickups in that, and so yeah. So there we go. That's the look at the best-selling guitars, electric guitars, in 2023. Is that what year it is? Yeah. According to Reverb. So again, keep that in mind. This is just according to Reverb. It's probably not completely accurate in terms of the industry as a whole, but there are some interesting things here. One was the lack of metal guitars to me. As popular as metal and progressive music has gotten over the last several years, I would have really expected to see a lot more of those style of guitars on the list from the different brands. But really the only one to speak of was the ESP, and everything else was pretty run-of-the-mill, like classic Strats, Tellys, Les Pauls, and PRSs, so I don't really know what to take away from that. I think PRS is goosing their numbers a little bit with their list. To just go back for this for a second, I don't think this is accurate. I don't think the Miles Kennedy was the number 2. I could be wrong, but it's just a hunch that I have. They definitely helped themselves by doing the SEs for 20% off at the end of the year. So yeah, but just the lack of metal guitars is... So Rob says lots of metal guitars lots of metal brands to choose from. Yeah, but you would expect some of the bigger brands to have shown up on the list, and maybe that's more ESPs, maybe that's like Schecter or, something like that. But list is curated by Chicago hipsters. Well, Gary, they're just showing us what we bought, so I don't think the Chicago hipsters have a lot to do with what everyone's out there buying. Where's Chapman at? I don't know. My thoughts on the Silver Sky SE compared to the Ventera, Jeremy's asking. I don't know. I've not actually played the Silver Sky SE. I'm sure it's great. I'm sure it's 90%, 95% as good as the American-made Silver Sky, which is very good. But I've not played one. Jonathan's asking, did I keep my Kernom Ridge? I did keep my Kernom Ridge. He says, I can't gel with mine. Maybe I'm missing something there. Much prefer the Revival drive. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just not the right pedal for you and your setup. That's okay. Maybe sell it on and try something else. Alex, no Epiphone USA Casino. No, and very little to no Epiphone on these lists, actually. Let's go back and just make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, Gibson. So this is the overall list. PRS, Fender, Gibson, Fender, PRS, Gibson, PRS, ESP, Squier, Fender, PRS. Yeah. No Epiphone. That's another surprise, actually. Because I do think the new Epiphone stuff is really great. It's really good value for the money. I think they play well. They look good. I think when the Gibson sort of restructuring thing happened several years ago, I think they did a good job of getting Epiphone back on track. But maybe they're just not connecting with people, or maybe it's just a Reverb thing. I don't know. See, Bella says, I understand the lack of Epiphone. There's a huge difference between a proper Gibson and an Epiphone, and Epis are getting quite expensive. I kind of agree. I mean, I agree that they are getting expensive. Let's look at an Epiphone Les Paul. Now, I do think that this is one of those things where the brand really does step out. I do think people want the Gibson name on the headstock over Epiphone. Let's see here. Let's just look at the Epiphone Les Paul standard. $700. Standard Cherry Sunburst $450, $550. I mean, man, I think these are fine prices. I think these are good. You know, some of these are older. It's a 2002. And again, these make good platforms for upgrading as well. You know, put some really good pickups, some good. These benefit from good pots, good electronics, and a really good setup. You know, you can get these dialed in and playing nice. Swap the nut for a bone nut. Maybe replace the tuners, whatever you want to do. But yeah, let's see here. Yeah, so for the last 2 years, they've been selling between, you know, $350 on the low end, $368 and $475 on the high end. Someone sold for $1,250 on the 5th. That's interesting. So yeah. Drew says pricing is right where it should be. Yeah, I feel pretty good about that. I feel pretty good about where these Epiphones are at. So I am surprised to not see Epiphones on the list anywhere. Brian, Epiphone is everywhere in music stores, so maybe no need to buy online. That might be a good point. Quick plug, you can get 40% off the Fretboard Fundamentals bundle via the link in the chat and in the description box. This stream's not sponsored by anybody. So if you want to support what I do over here, then you can check out any of the video courses via that link, and I greatly appreciate it. Weren't the casinos crazy expensive a while back? Well, they had, so I bought my casino from Guitar Center. I paid $700 for it. It's just an Epiphone casino, but they were doing the American-made casinos, which were, I actually really want to play one of those. Those were more expensive. Let's see, Epiphone Casino USA. Here we go. Yeah, $2,400. But this is the first American-made Epiphone since like 1964 or something like that. I would love to check one of these out. Yeah, $34.99 brand new. $2,500. Yeah, these are cool. I like the burst on them too, the lighter burst. That's pretty rad. Oh, there's a spot on it. It's $500 off. Ooh, the back is nice too. Yeah. Got the Grover Deluxes on it. Nice hard shell case. That's a cool guitar, man. USA made Epiphone. These are made in Nashville at the Gibson USA factory. I'd have one of those. Oh, man. So, there you go. What do you guys think about the list? Anything that you're surprised to not see on here of the best-selling guitars of 2023? It's a lot of coinage for an Epiphone. Yeah, Brian, I mean, it's really a Gibson. It's just a Gibson ES330 basically with it says Epiphone on the headstock as an homage to the originals. Mr. Rex says ES335. You know, I'm not necessarily shocked to not see 335s on the list. They're expensive. I love them, but they are a bit niche for I think the general playing population. you know, you kind of have to be into that big semi hollow. And that's the thing, they are big. 335s are very, very big. I'm tall, so I feel really comfortable with 335, but a lot of people don't like them because they're just kind of unwieldy. Let's see here. I wonder what, so Nitron's asking, I wonder what people are selling their standard 60s for. Are all these Tim Pearson Shull hype videos causing people to step up to custom shop guitars? I wonder. No, I doubt it. My guess is they're probably selling them for stuff in a similar price point. I think a lot of people, when they sell guitars, it's so they can kind of make a lateral move from something of a similar value to something else of a similar value. So for instance, like selling your Gibson 60s Les Paul standard to get into a PRS, for example, or maybe there's a really cool Strat or something you want to check out. I think there's a lot of that happening out there where it's like, you know, oh, okay, this is my first Les Paul. I've had the Les Paul thing. Now I want to try something else. But you have to sell something to buy something, right? So my guess is that would explain, you know, a lot of these guitars, a lot of the used guitars on the top 20 list. I think that explains it. Let's see here. Could be people getting Gibsons and the quality control isn't up to the price and they resell to get something else. Yeah, maybe. I mean, people love to talk about the bad quality control of Gibson, but I don't see it, man. I mean, I think for a long time, yeah, that was a valid complaint, but I genuinely think they've done a good job of restructuring their factory and getting their quality control under check. Are they perfect? No. Are they as good as PRS? No. But I think the internet loves to kind of hold on to this idea of talking shit on brands like, you know, on Gibson. I will say, in my experience, I get sent a lot of these guitars and Gibson's quality control is better than Fender's. I mean, just straight up. Like a lot of the Fender stuff that's coming out now is not great quality control wise. Now, maybe it's because the guitars that they're sending out to influencers are like B stock or something like that, and they're still sending their best guitars to retailers. But I have friends that are retailers that have told me that a lot of times Fenders and to some extent Gibsons, but Fenders get sent back a lot more. So, you know, this idea of quality control being, you know, terrible and everything that's coming out of these factories is just awful is just, in my experience, is not true. And I play a lot of this stuff. So, you know, let's see, Dylan, Gibson QC has been way better than Fender in the last couple of years from what I've seen at stores. Yeah. I would agree. Now, does that mean that Fender makes terrible guitars and we should all just shit on Fender? No. Like, it just means that you have to go and find the right one for you, which has always been the case, no matter the brand. You know, if you're looking for something, that's part of the fun of what we do. It's part of the fun of guitar, is like finding the one for you. You know, you got to go out there and sometimes you just don't find a good one, and that's okay. You sell it on and you get something else. Nothing wrong with that. Let's see. Brian, for some reason, Fender has forgotten how to finish frets. I would agree with that to some extent. Some of the Fenders that I've played recently have had some fret issues. So hopefully they can get that figured out. But I still like Fender. The Ventera 2 Bass 6 that I got is a ringer. It's so good. There's not a single thing wrong with that guitar, and it's rad. It's so cool. So, you know, there's good stuff. There's bad stuff. Let's see here. Subi, what's up, man? Long time no see. Awesome. Well, Gavin, what's up, dude? The Jason Isbell Telecaster is sweet. I completely agree. That guitar, I think, is kind of slept on. The Jason Isbell Signature Tele. If you watched my video on the 5 Teles, that was one of my favorites. This guitar kills. If you're looking for a cool telly in the sub $2,000 range, new and used, evidently, this is rad. Great sounding pickups, really cool burst. It's double bound. It has, my favorite thing about it is the neck finish. It's not a lacquered neck. It's like an oiled neck. So it's really comfortable. It sounds great. I like the road worn finish is cool. You don't have to be precious about it. The pickups sound great. Plus I'm a massive Jason Isbell fan. Yeah, these are really, really cool guitars. I sent I sent it back to Sweetwater, but I'm kind of regretting that now. Kind of wish I'd kept it. Yeah, I think these are some of the most slept on tellies out there. Nice. All right, everyone. Well, I'm going to jump off. This has been a fun stream, kind of an old school hangout kind of stream. Let me know if you enjoyed this. It's a little bit different than what I've been doing recently, but I kind of like it. And I want to bring back the old school, just kind of hang out and shoot the shit sort of stream. If you liked the nerdy, like, look at at numbers and graphs and all that stuff, I love talking about that stuff. So yeah, let me know. Once again, you can get 40% off the Fretboard Fundamentals bundle, which is my my main video course bundle, via the link in the chat and in the description. If you're watching this on replay and you've made it this far into the stream, thank you. Thank you for the support. And yeah, it's been fun. Maybe leave some suggestions in the chat of what you want to talk about next on the stream. This is a lot of fun to just kind of sit here and talk about the marketplace and talk about gear and the industry and where things are headed. Yeah, had a good time. Cool. Thanks, everyone. And we will see y'all real soon.